All right, last live stream of the school year. Last live stream, we're starting out with one person in here, willing to bet it's Jad. Two people now. Questions out there. Does anybody have questions? Last shot. After that, you have to do everything through Schoology, through email. Nothing like this. You have to try to figure it out through my words in an email. Yeah, I pretty much figure my students, or most of the students in school here, have pretty much just given up. Stopped doing work. I'm going to be doing my grades tomorrow for the year. School needs to know for summer school. Decided today I am definitely not doing summer school one way or the other. I talked to a principal about it, and I quasi committed if it was face to face, but once I got home. What do you mean, Melissa? I still do the work. Oh, you're still doing the work. One of the few far and in between. I have almost 160 students. In this past week, I only had 41 kids turn something in. 42 kids, something like that. Not really good. I really made things easy today. Yeah, I'm sure some of it is a pain. But I deliberately made my stuff easy this week just to kind of see. I've had some interesting submissions that were not math. I had people send pictures. I guess they were looking to see if I was actually grading them. I guess that's just kids being kids, trying to get away with stuff. Been reading articles about potentially what's going to happen next year and all types of stuff. Nobody knows what's going to happen. In a way, it's a little frustrating. It's on my contract this year, so I'll definitely be back at Copperas Cove High School next year. I don't think anybody's got any math questions. Well, Fred, what's your question? Ask away. Willing to bet it's probably 7, 8, 9, and 10. The only remotely challenging problem, I think, on this whole sheet. What you got, Fred? All right, so last week's, what number? So I'm going to give you a hint, Fred. I'll work a couple of these for you, but I've worked a lot of these on the previous online tutorials. If you go look at the descriptions on the days of 5.5, 5.6, and 5.7, I've worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these 10 problems. I haven't worked all of them. Oh, you have questions on all of them? I'll tell you what. I'm going to do number 3. And then I'm going to let you go back and look at the online discussions in the descriptions on 5.5, 5.6, and 5.7, because there will be 5 other problems worked out the same way. So 6 of the 10 will actually have been worked out. All right, so here we go. Number 3. I'll write down the time I'm doing this. At 7, 5, 14. All right, number 3. We have the equation y equals negative 2x minus 4, and we have point P at negative 1 comma negative 1. All right, we want lines that are parallel and perpendicular to this given line that passes through this point. What you have to remember is the relationship between parallel and perpendicular slopes. Am I really laggy? No, it's just like a 30-second delay. Not laggy on my side. It's just a normal 30-second delay. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to identify the slope here. We're going to use the equation y equals mx plus b. M is my slope. So my slope here is negative 2. It's the number and sign that's in front of the x. All right. So for lines to be parallel, they have the exact same slope. So my parallel slope, the slanted lines means parallel, m is slope, is going to be negative 2. Now, the perpendicular slope is going to be the negative reciprocal. And what that means is we're going to change the sign, and then we're going to flip 2 upside down. If you remember, this is 2 over 1, so when we flip it upside down, it's going to become 1 over 2. So my perpendicular, the upside down capital T means perpendicular, slope, well, I'm going to change it from negative to positive, but I don't need to write it. And instead of writing it as 2, or 2 over 1, I'm going to write 1/2. All right, so there's my slopes. Now all I need to do is write the equations. What's convenient is I have an equation y equals mx plus b. Well, I have an m, and I gave you an x right here and a y right here. So all you need to do is just plug everything in, solve for b. So let's do this. My y is going to be negative 1 equals my m for parallel is going to be negative 2 times my x, which is negative 1 plus b. Now we're just going to solve for b. We've got negative 1 equals 2 plus b. Subtract 2 from both sides. b equals negative 3. Once I know b, I can write my equation. My equation is always going to be in the form of y equals mx plus b. In this case, I'm going to leave my y and my x, but I want to fill in my m and my b. My m that I used was negative 2, so I'm going to have y equals negative 2x. And then my b, it says plus b, but it says minus 3. A negative 3, so minus 3. So here's my line, my equation for parallel. All right, for perpendicular, we're going to do the exact same process. My m is going to be the 1/2, same x and y's. So let's do this. Here's my y, -1. My y equals my slope of 1/2 times my x, which is -1, plus b. This gives me -1 equals -1/2 plus b. From here, we're going to add 1/2 to both sides. So we've got -1 plus 1/2 equals b. Well, that's going to give me a -1/2 equals b. So now I have my b and I have my m. So all I need to do is write the equation. Y equals my m, which is 1/2, x, and my b, -1/2. And this is my perpendicular line. And that's it. That's how you work all these problems. If you go back on the 5th, 6th, and 7th, you'll see a lot more examples worked out the same way. All right, guys, I'm going to go grab something. I'll be right back. Think of more questions. Oh, boy. All right. The school texting me. All right, anybody else got any more questions? Anybody else? This week, geometry number 4. Well, Fred, this is the last week's worth of work. I'm actually going to be doing grades tomorrow. Pretty much, I kind of know where everybody's sitting right now. For those of you who are on the stream, don't do number 5 on this week's because I didn't give you enough information. When I wrote the problem, I had everything, but I forgot to type something in on the paper, so don't do number 5. Don't have enough information to solve. But let's look at number 4. Number 4 says, find x when the triangle's area is 40 square inches. So my area of a triangle is 40 inches squared. The height is 2x plus 8. And the base is 9. Okay. The second one asked this question. I think it's because of the fraction. So I'm going to show you kind of a way you have to think. You have to kind of think like a chess player. Our formula is going to be 1/2 base times height. That's how you find the area of a triangle. So I have my k, which is area. I have my base, and I have my height, and I want to solve for x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug everything in first. So I'm going to have 40. I'm not going to worry about the units because the inches are going to be square. It's going to work itself out. Equals 1/2 times my base, which is 9, times my height, which is 2x plus 8. All right. Now we just need to solve for x. Now I'm going to use the idea of the cumulative. Wow, I can't talk today. The cumulative property. Now the associative property. Wow, I'm going to use the associative property, meaning that I'm allowed to multiply these in any order. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the 9 off right now, and I'm going to multiply 1/2 into this 2 and 8 because I see that these are even numbers and 1/2 goes in evenly. So you can see really what I'm doing. I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to do 1/2 and I'm going to do 2x plus 8, and I'm going to put my 9 here. And I'm going to distribute this 1/2. I have now 40 equals, well, half of 2 is just x. Half of 8 is 4. Now times 9, I'm going to distribute this 9. Doesn't matter in this case if you do left or right distribution because multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so now we have 40 equals 9x plus 36. 9 times 4 is 36. We're going to subtract 36 from both sides. We're going to get 4 equals 9x. Divide by 9. And I have x equals 4/9. Voila, done. Not terribly bad. Not terribly bad. But you've got to use these properties that you've learned from previous classes to make your math easier. I could have also solved this by multiplying by 2 on both sides to get rid of this 1/2, and I could have solved it this way. 80 equals 9 times 2x plus 8. Distribute the 9. I've got 80 equals 18x plus 72. Subtract 72 from both sides. I've got 8 equals 18x. Divide by 18. I have x equals 8 over 18. This simplifies down because they both have a 2 in common, which is 4 over 9. So there's a lot of different ways you can actually attack this to solve it. Just by using properties. If you know your properties, it makes your algebra easier. All right, what else? What else? What else? What else? So I gave you the formula for the sectors. So the formula for the sector is going to be, oh, I forgot to put k equals. So your k is going to equal n divided by 360 times pi r squared. Okay. So n here is our degree and k is the area, but I'm asking you to find area. So you're just going to plug in the number. 19 over 360 times pi. And then the radius, whatever the radius was on this, I think it was 7. I think it was 7. Let me double check. I believe it's a 735. Can't be 7. Might be 9. No, it's 12. So the radius is 12 in this problem. And then from there, you just simplify this out as much as you can. So K equals 19 times 144 over 360 pi. Throw that in the calculator. 19 times 144 divided by 60. 38 pi over 5. So for what I'm asking, this would be the answer, 38 pi over 5 in reduced form. So that's how you find the area of a sector. Yeah, the number of degrees of your central angle divided by, so this is actually your percent of the circumference, because pi r squared is your circumference. I mean, is your area. So you're doing a percent of the area of the circle. Part divided by whole is the decimal representation of a percent. This week's work is in a folder, Fred. It's labeled 511, I believe, in Schoology. If not, if you still can't find it in Schoology, just send me a message and I will send you a link to my, in fact, I think in the descriptions, no. I'll send you a link where you can actually find it. All right, what else, guys? Yeah, the angle is 19, so yeah, that was number 9. What else, what else, what else? Dog's whining in there thinking that they're going to get fed early. Do 8. Sure, we know the radius is 12. So this is just pi r squared. So my k is going to be pi times 12 squared, which is 144 pi. That's 8. Once you know the radius, it's just a matter of just throwing it in there, throwing it into the formula. What else? What else? Guys, for a large part, when I wrote this, I tried to really make it... This is like junior high area, what you should have learned in junior high, and then I just added some algebra to it to try to spice it up with a little bit of, to kind of stay within this. You don't understand what 10 is asking. All right. See, that's the question that I was expecting people to have. So let's diagram this out. We have a circle. Then we have right there our triangle. We now know the radius is 12. This is 35. And this is 37. 1 through 3 on this, Fred? On this newest one? All right, well, let's do 10. So to do 10, you have to do 7, 8, and 9. Because you can't solve 10 without having 7, 8, and 9. So the only one we haven't done so far is 7. So for number 7 is asking for the area of the rectangle. Well, that area is going to be 1/2 of my base, which is times 35 times 12, which really is 6 times 35, which is 70, 105, 210? Yeah, 210. 210. Okay, so we know the area of this right here is 210. What did I say? Inches? Not even give you units. So we know that this part's 210. So for 8, we found the area was 144 pi. That is this area right here for the whole circle. Okay. Now, number 9 was the area of the sector, which was 38 pi over 5. So that's this part right in here. Now, what I'm asking you is, what's the area of this whole figure? What's the area of this part of the circle, well, the circle, and then this part of the triangle? So what you need to do is you're going to have to add up the triangle and the circle, and you have to subtract the sector because it's overlapping. See how there's an overlap right here? We have this in there twice, so we have to subtract one of them out. So what we're going to do is, the formula is basically number 7 plus number 8 minus number 9, and this is number 10 is going to equal all of that. That's why you have to do those. So then this just simply becomes 210 plus 144 pi minus 38 pi over 5. From there, you just throw it in the calculator and you have your answer of the area of the whole area of the whole thing. And it tells you to round it to the 1 decimal place. So we're doing 210 plus 144 pi minus 38 pi divided by 5. And when I do that, I get 638.5 whatever units squared. And you're done. So what you have to be careful of is this part right here. It's in there twice, so you have to subtract it out. You have to kind of think about the object if there's an overlap, because if there's an overlap, you have to subtract it out. And that's what this 38 pi over 5 is doing, is just subtracting out the overlap. So you're not double counting the same area. And that's what 10 is asking. Fred, I'm not going to do all 3, so I'm going to let you pick 1, 2, or 3, because I've already done 4. I said don't do 5, and I've done 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'll let you pick 1, 2, or 3. What's up, Jed? Come in for this last live stream. So, Fred, I'm just going to do number one. Number one reads, find x when a parallelogram's area is 32 inches squared, a height is of 4 inches, and the base is x plus 3. Oh, that's all good, Jad. So here's how this is how this whole sheet sets up. You have the area formulas up top. I give you bits and pieces of information for the area formula, and then you have to solve for x. That's all you're going to do. So for a parallelogram, I tell you the area of a parallelogram is base times height. In the problem, I tell you the area, which is k, is 32 inches squared. I tell you the height is 4 inches. And then I tell you the base is x plus 3 inches. All right, and then I basically just say, hey, what's x? So what you're going to do is, where this k is, you put 32. You're just going to substitute it in. So we're going to get 32 equals, because that's my k. My base is x plus 3, put it in parentheses. And then my height is 4. And then from here, I just simply solve. Let's see. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 6, 4. What is it, 8? 8 equals x plus 3. I subtract 3 from both sides, and I got x equals 5. And that's how you're going to solve every last one of these problems. I gave you all the formulas you need up top. The only one I didn't give you enough information on is number 5, so don't do number 5. And then I've just worked 7, 8, 9, and 10. 6, I want to let you guys kind of critically think on that one. So, what other questions? You didn't correct the homework. Yeah, because, yeah, you can divide like that because technically division is not a math operator. You're actually multiplying by the fraction. So because you can do it in any order, you can do the algebra in any order. You don't have to distribute. Unfortunately, in high school or in most schools, they just kind of teach you one set way of doing it when it's not even the easiest way. It's just one way that you could do it constantly. Hello, Sheila. No, I haven't done 2 or 3. I'm going to let you do those, Fred. You have to do something on your own. So today I've done number 1, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of this. So yeah, I know that, but you got to do something. We have been through this. What do you want? Come here. Last live stream. Come here. Come here. I'm not feeding you, by the way, so you can stop whining. Come here. Come here. Stop. Wow, you were yellow and dingy. He really is not that yellow. It's the camera. He might actually be that yellow. Don't look at me like that. You look really yellow and gross. Ooh, get down. Oh, man. His feeding time's getting soon. It's like in an hour and a half, but he always starts to whine and bark. All right, so I want to type out an announcement and put it in Schoology. So really what they're doing over these last 2 weeks, you're going to have like a reflection survey to do next week. It's just done on Schoology. Just knock it out real quick. And then basically it's just giving you time to catch up on any work that you've missed. If you've gotten everything done, you're basically done. Last week, number 5. All right, so this will be the last one. I work on this one too, because like I was telling Fred there, Renee, I've got examples on 5.5, 5.6, and 5.7, and then I worked one already on 5.14. After I work number 5, that only leaves 1, 2, 3. I've not worked on the live stream, so I've got to let y'all do something on your own. All right, Jed, I'll look in a second, okay? All right, so here we go. We have y equals 1/2 x minus 3, and my point P is -4, 3. All right, so this is my x, this is my y. Right here is my slope. So my parallel slope is going to be the same. So it's going to be 1/2. My perpendicular slope is going to be the negative, so I have to change the sign. So it's positive, so it's going to be a negative. I'm going to flip this upside down and get 2/1, which gives me -2. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the equation y equals mx plus b. I have a y, I have x, and I have my m. So my equation for my parallel line, I'm going to solve for b first. I'm going to do 3, that's my y, equals my m, which is 1/2 times my x, which is -4, plus b. This gives me 3 equals -2 plus b. This gives me b equals 5. So now all I do to write my equation is back in this form, but I leave it with y and x. So I get y equals the slope I use, which is 1/2 x, and then my b is a +5. So here's my parallel line equation. My perpendicular equation, we're going to do the same thing. Y equals mx plus b. My y is 3. My perpendicular slope is -2 times my x, which is -4, plus b. This gives me 3 equals 8 plus b. This gives me -5 equals b. So my perpendicular equation is going to be y equals the slope I use, -2, x. My b is a -5, and there is my perpendicular slope. All right. So let me erase this. Let me pull up my email and look and see what Jad sent me. See what the junior high is doing overseas. All right. Why are you surprised, Jed? Which one do you want me to do? You want me to do number 6? So which one? 6 or... Oh, I guess that's the whole thing is 6. Okay. Okay. So, Dad. Yeah. All right. So let's do this. It's weird the way it's numbered. It's like 6-1 and 6-2. All right. So we have a triangle. And in this triangle, this is 4.5, this is x, and this is 5.1. We use points, you guys use commas. Here, I'll write it so you're used to the way you're used to seeing it. So 4.5, 5.1, and x. And then it tells me my perimeter. My perimeter is 12.8. Well, what you need to know about perimeter is just the sum of all the sides. Sum is addition. That means we're going to add up all the sides to get the perimeter. So to find the perimeter, we're going to have the equation of 4.5 plus 5.1 plus x equals my perimeter, which is 12.8. So that was 6 and then 1. So it's number 6, I guess, and then your 1 with a little thing. I think that when I'm looking at that, it's got to be, if you look at C and D, C's got multiplication and D is all addition. So this is actually D. The order doesn't matter because it's addition and it's commutative. You're allowed to write it in any order. All right, and then 2, it says find the value of x. Well, that's pretty straightforward. What we're going to do is we're going to combine like terms. 4.5 and 5.1 is going to give me 9.6 plus x equals 12.8. We're going to subtract 9.6 from both sides. And we're going to get x equals, that's a 2 and a 3. And then there's your answer for number 2. The key to that is knowing what perimeter is. Perimeter is always the sum of all sides. Perimeter, no matter what, it doesn't matter what the shape is, it's the sum of all sides. That's why a circle has a special name for a perimeter called circumference, because there is no individual sides that you can add up because it's a continuous curve. All right, guys, what else? You bet. You ever find out when your last day of school is, Chad? What was that thing about making up unfinished work? Okay, so this is the last week we're giving you packets. There's still 2 weeks of school left. Next week there's going to be like an end of the year survey where you get to tell me how bad of a job I did and everything else. Right? But then really that's time for you to catch up on any work that you haven't turned in yet. For a large part, we can't keep giving you work because it has to be quarantined. The government hasn't decided when they're calling school. Gotcha. So we can't keep giving you packets because the packets take too long to get to us, and then we're going into summer when we are no longer even in school. And with teachers, we're only contracted for 180 days, so they have to make sure that we are not working above our 180 days because then they'd have to pay us for it. So this is the last packet. If you've done everything and then you do that survey that I'm going to post, I'll post probably tomorrow afternoon, maybe tomorrow morning, then you're done. Because I'm actually going to sit and do my grades because I don't think this last packet's really going to change my mind on anybody's grades. Kind of need to have those done because the school needs them for summer school numbers. What's up, Garen? Drop in for the last stream I'm doing. This is the last one. Algebra 2's been pretty easy, so didn't expect a lot of Algebra 2 questions. Really, it's all been easy. So I've got Zelda about, my completion is 62%. How do you know how long the square is on number 6? Well, it's not a square, for one, because if it was a square, it would just be a length of 4. So I'll show you. Let me finish solving this, and then I will show you. It's not terribly bad. Okay, so this is the diagram. That dog. You'll hear him barking. Okay, so first thing we need to know is how do we figure out this length and this length, because that's what I need to actually solve this problem. And I need to know this length. Well, we know this is a rectangle because it is a parallelogram, because all of these angles are going to be 90 degrees. That's why I gave you two 90-degree angles, so you can see that all 4 angles are 90 degrees. And I didn't say it was a square, so you can't assume it's a square. But one thing we do know about a rectangle is opposite sides are congruent, so we know this is 4. Now I have a triangle with the missing length right here of x. This is just Pythagorean theorem. X squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. This gives me x squared equals 16. Well, x squared plus 16 equals 25. X squared equals 9. X equals plus or minus 3 when you take the square root. And because it's a distance, that's 3. Well, if this is 3 and the whole length is 10, segment addition postulate states that that has to be 7. Once you have that, you find your area of this, find your area of this, add them up, and you're done. You basically do your rectangle plus your triangle. And then this is 4, this is 7, this is 4, and this is 3. And then that's it. So it's kind of got hidden information in there, but it's got more than enough information for you to solve the problem. What else? What else? What else? Six and 7 from this week, Garen. All right, let me see. All right, here we go. So number 6. On this, I just want domain and range and set and interval notation. Number 6 is O of x equals 852, the absolute value of x plus 575 minus 95. All right. Well, I already know the answer. Best thing to do, honestly, is just to graph this, give a rough sketch. I know that the absolute value looks like a V. This is positive, so it's opening upward. We're moving this direction, 575, that's there, and we're going down 95 right here. So this point is negative 575, negative 95, and then my graph is doing this. Okay, my domain in interval notation is from negative infinity to infinity, and in set notation, it's the set of all x's such that x is an element of the real numbers because it spans all the x's. So finding the area of the triangle, I would do Pythagorean theorem, question mark. Yeah, you totally misspelled Pythagorean theorem. Let me finish this, Fred. But you do Pythagorean theorem to find the leg, so you can find the area of the 1/2 base times height. My range is a little bit more complicated. It's basically starting here and going up. So I look at my y value. So my lowest y value is 95, and I touch it. So I have my square bracket at negative 95, and then it's going up forever to infinity. And in set notation, it's the set of all y such that y is an element of the real numbers, and y has to be greater than or equal to negative 95. And you're done. For a large part, you have to know your transformations to be able to figure out domain and range, because I gave you almost everything in vertex form. So that is number 6. Now let's do number 7. All right. Number 7. Number 7 is c of x equals negative square root of x minus 19 plus 51. Okay, so let's just think about this. So it's going to flip. So if I'm going to graph this, the normal graph looks like this. This is your parent function. We're going to flip, move up. So we have a graph that's going something like this. And this point right here is 19. And this point right here is 51. Okay. So easy enough. So now I have the basic idea of the graph. My domain, well, it starts at 19 and it's going out to infinity. So it starts at 19 and it can equal 19, and we're going out to infinity. And then my interval, my set notation is going to be the set of all x's such that x is an element of the real numbers and x is greater than or equal to 19. All right. And that just makes sense, because if I put anything less than 19 in here, I'm going to get an imaginary number, and that doesn't work. All right, my range. Well, I'm looking at my y value. My y value is a positive 51, and then it's going down. So I'm starting, it's going to negative infinity, and it's going all the way up to 51, and it touches it. And then, dog's getting on my nerves. It's the set of all y such that y is an element of the real numbers, and y has to be less than or equal to 51. It's a matter of knowing your transformations, being able to do a rough sketch, and being able to pop. Once you do that, it's just a matter of just popping them out. You can stop. I'm not feeding you right now. It's not time to feed. To eat. What else, guys? Not bad for the last live stream. People actually asking questions. Unlike basically the last 2 weeks. Jed, it's been fun, dude. But no more streams after today. So just sleep through the night. You don't have to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Come get math help. Guys, y'all have any other questions? No, you won't. You won't miss me. The long and the short side. What do you mean by that? The long and the short. Are you still on that same problem? That's fine. I have it set. I have that set up to go to my phone. That email to go to my phone. So I'll see when you get, whenever you have questions. You're on question 2. So it's 35 equals 5x. And solve. All right, guys, my dog is barking out there. He is whining. I gotta go. I don't know if y'all can hear him. 8 and 9. Let me go throw my dog outside. I'll come back and do one of them and only one of them. So you decide which one you want me to do. Hey. Huh. Alright, which one you want to do? You want me to do 9 or you want me to do 10? Which one? Or you want me to just pick, because both of them are going to be the same. Alright, 10 it is. We got exclamation point of x equals x squared minus 18x plus 83. Alright. So right off the bat, this one you can't see because it's not in vertex form. I'm going to change this into vertex form. Just so I can find the range. I already know the domain because it's a parabola, and all parabolas have a domain from negative infinity to infinity, or the set of all x's, such that x is an element of the real numbers. You should have that memorized. The only thing that's different is the range on this. Alright, so what I'm going to do to make my life easier is I'm going to subtract 83 from both sides. So I have exclamation point of x minus 83. I want to put a space equals x squared minus 18x. So I get all my x's on one side and everything else on the other. What I'm going to do is complete the square. I'm going to take half of my b. So I'm going to do negative 18 divided by 2, which gives me negative 9. I'm going to square that, and that's 8 gives me 81. I'm going to add 81 to both sides. The reason why I do that is I make a perfect square trinomial. So we clean this side up. The exclamation point of x minus 2 equals, well, this factors, if you remember from class, it's going to factor to this minus 9. So we have x minus 9 squared. Now I add my 2, exclamation point x equals x minus 9 squared plus 2. Now it's just like all our other problems. Well, I know this graph, because this is positive, is opening upward. And we go over 9 and up 2. So the graph looks something like this. And this point is 9, 2. So my range here is going to be this y value. We're starting and touching 2, and we're going to infinity. So this is the set of all y, such that y is an element of the real numbers, and y has to be greater than or equal to 2. Voila. So on those two, you have to complete the square. So I'm going to leave you one that you have to complete the square on. All right, guys, that's it. That's a wrap. That is a wrap. It's a shame only about 15 people consistently use this, because apparently, I guess, everybody else knows how to do all their math. They don't need any help at all. I've had some students email me, which is fine, because y'all know my students, that was just a way you can get help too. But trying to get help through email is nowhere near as effective as this. Not a problem, Renee. You have a good summer too, sir. I will finish the grades tomorrow, and you will see. I don't think your grade's changing, though. I don't think, but it is what it is. All right, so I am out. You guys, see you next school year. Providing we're there, who knows what's going to happen.